Hi everyone, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, an extra warm welcome to you in my studio today. And today, what are we going to do? You know, it's Saturday. It's one of those days, and I'm quite behindhand and going to have to get a move on here. So what I have in front of me is I've got these granulating colours. You remember we talked about these the other week, and a lot of people were really quite excited by them, including me. Very interesting product, and so I thought we would give them a bit of a whirl today. So I've got those out. It looks like 5 shades of brown and an empty pot there, which is exactly what it is. But this one's red, pink, orange, blue and violet. And what I did the other day, this is a little test thingy, what's it that I did. I think I was using the blue. Looks like it might be, but you never know. I did actually do a swatch, didn't I? But I don't know where that is at the moment. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. And so I put it very light in the background. Then I did these leaves and the berries. And then I enhanced them with this stuff. These paints here, these silvery ones, are incredibly shiny and glittery and sparkly and everything. Can't wait for the winter. You know, it's going to be wonderful to be able to do a bunch of Christmas cards and things covered in this shiny stuff. Anyway, so these are watercolor paints by a lady called Milena, and she lives in England and she ships worldwide for a very reasonable price. And this is some of her different series. She has all these different series: Golden, Ocean, Galaxy, Vivid, you name it, she's got it. And these are just the dot cards. They come in little tins like this. And inside, I've changed it. This is something else. I've taken all mine out of those little tins and I've put them into larger tins like this, so they're easier to see lots of them all at once. And that's just me. That's what I've done. I've got a big one like that. And then I've got my gold ones in here as well. These are the golds. And then these are really super sparkly. Every time I look at that, I think of what do you call them? Unicorns, don't you? You know, you can see why I'm saying that, can't you? It's so sparkly and pretty and everything. And every time I say unicorn, for some reason, I think of that incredibly funny television program. What was it called? My Family, I think. Was it called My Family? The one with Mitchell.
Modern Family.
Modern Family. I always want to call it something else. Thank you, Tamsin. Modern Family, my favourite. That's the only American what do you call it, a soap opera thing I've ever watched all the way through more than once. I may very well watch it again when I finished watching When the Boat Comes In. Anyway, so as far as paper goes, I'm going to be using some Meeden watercolour paper here. And I can't make up my mind at the moment whether to go for the 10 by 7 size or to go for the bigger one, which is 12 by 9. I'm sort of kind of veering in the direction of the larger sheet, the 12 by 9, mainly because I want to use my cat's tongue brush, which is a lovely brush to use. And I don't use it as often as I should, but when I use it, I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So, whoops. So that's what I'll do, I think. We'll put that there. Then this is one from my set of Craftmo brushes, which I think there's a few left. I think I've said that before. I think there still are a few left. If you go to Craftmo and look for us, you'll find our brushes there, and other people's as well. They're good quality brushes. They are really nice. I've been very pleased with them, actually, surprisingly enough. And the other thing I might use, as well as this, the Mab paints, is this Aqua Bronze by Schminke, which is powder. When you open it up, you will see a shower of fairy dust, and you mix that with a little bit of water. And because it's got binder inside it, it sticks to the paper properly like paint should. Okay, so let's put some water on these, shall I? And we can start with the background. I think I'll have to start with the background. I don't know which one I'm going to use until I've made them all wet and figured out what's what. But it's going to be a very light background, I think. Where shall I put this? If I put it there, will you be able to see it? I think so, just about. Hang on. Yeah, there we are. Quick slurp of tea. I always have a crisis of faith at this point, and I look at my phone and just see that the light is indicating that I am recording and not talking to myself as usual. That wouldn't work, would it? So let's see. I need a test piece of paper. Here's one of my small pieces that I cut up earlier, which I'm so excited by. It's just ridiculous. It was such a good idea. It's taken me 50 years to think of it. So let's see what colours we've got here. This is the purpley one that granulates. And there go the dogs. Somebody must be walking past or probably riding their bike. You can see more than one colour is picking up there. It also looks a little bit on the purple side. This one, oh, green and grey. Well, that's interesting. They dry completely differently from what you expect. I don't know. Oh, it must have been that one. It must have been number 3 that I had there, I think. Because this one is going to be, yeah, that's going to be purple, so we don't want that one. Okay, so it's this one, which is green. I mean, that's why it's called Aurora Orange. No reason given, but there we are. And I need a little palette dish. This is probably the best way of using these, is actually to pick some of it up, give it a bit of a smush round, and put it in a separate dish. I'm not convinced, are you? You have to be convinced. You have to just go with the flow. I think whoever invented that expression, I don't think it's this. I think I'm talking complete rubbish, but there we are. We'll make something of it. It doesn't look like that at all. Something tells me that this is a different granulating paint. Oh well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go to prison for it. Everyone makes mistakes. Let's put that over there, and I'll put that there, and then I'm going to do some, I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do actually. I think I seem to have gold dust on my paper. Everybody needs a bit of that. Right, so, okay, let's just see what happens. We could do, yeah, what do you think? Is it possible that that's it? Is that possible? I don't know. It's got orange in it. It's not showing up though, is it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is. Oops, don't dip your brush in your tea. You can see how that's changing colour as it's sitting there. I think what I'll do, I'll just use this up, what I've mixed, going across the background here like this. I'm going to make the paper wet. It does blend quite nicely. You don't get much in the way of backgrounds with this. And this brush is helpful from that point of view too. And when I've used this up, I will get some more of a different colour. So let's have the blue, a little bit of that one, maybe. And then we'll add that and do that for the rest of the page. Blue, yes. This is so nice to use this brush. You kind of do this sweeping motion thing. And it's just, yeah, it's quite satisfying, that is. That's quite nice to do. There you are, so that's that. And then thing to do now, I'll probably come over here and put a few sort of additionals in here, just to use the paint up. Don't normally do that, do we? But we'll do that. And then So that's given us a nice variegated background. And then we have to decide what we're going to do next. So, I think probably what I'll do is use some more of these, because really I haven't seen anybody using these colours particularly extensively, and having given them such a rave review, I think I kind of owe it to them to use them. So let's paint some circles, and let's just go along. Let's go along the row and just put some circles in. And they'll be fuzzy because the paper's wet, and they'll spread out, and we'll see what happens, but it doesn't matter. If I know I'm going to dip my brush in my tea. We can make them overlap a bit. You can leave some gaps in the middle as well if you want. And they all look purple, don't they? I hope you like purple. Go back to this end. Oh, that's bright. Somebody left a message on, you can hear the birds, can't you? Somebody left a comment this afternoon, which I've answered, and said, I like your videos, but I hear birds. Are they caged or free? Now, I would never have thought that it was necessary to explain that the birds, the robins and the blackbirds and all the other things outside the studio here were actually free, but I suppose in this day and age where everything is virtual, you do wonder. I mean, surprised she didn't actually say, is it a recording or is it AI? Anyway, so I politely replied, they're free. I'm free. Remember that? English people, are you being served? Right, so I'm just going to do some sort of centers, darker, completely random. Couldn't be further away, this kind of thing, than the nature drawings that I've been doing just recently. We'll dry this and then we'll paint over the top of it. You know very well, like we always say, every painting has its ugly stage. And we're probably around about there at the moment. Yeah, I want to try keeping that cockerel in a cage. That would be fun. I'm going to stop in a second and get my hairdryer and dry the whole thing off before we go to the next level of disaster. Okay, right, hairdryer. Okay, so that's dry now, and I think I'm going to continue on by opening up my graphite colours, also by Kuretake, another Gansai Tambi paint, And these are the sorts of colours that this comes up with, these graphite, and they're also kind of granulating, I think. And some people have said, oh, you know, how do they compare to one another? So we'll see, won't we? So this is what we've got here. It's a well-used set. We've got what they call red, green, yellow, grey, violet and brown. Again, they don't seem to really correspond to those names, but that doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to do, I think, is I can't make up my mind what size brush to use, actually. Not sure. No, that's too big. Well, that's the same. That's too big. Maybe sometimes if you just sort of do it like this, you can see how big that's going to go if you paint with that. Whereas this is the other one I'm kind of thinking I will, no, not that one, this one. Sort of, oops, okay, we're committed now. Well, that's a good start, isn't it? Definitely. So there we are. Let's start with that line and take that further. And we are into relaxation zone now. And we'll just play. So this is the grey, so-called. And I don't know, brown, let's try that. And yellow. Unlikely kind of colour combinations, aren't they? It's not, you wouldn't sort of go out of your way to seek out this purple for the background and then do something on top of it, would you? You wouldn't necessarily go looking for that. But we'll see what happens. We'll put some small ones as well as big ones and let them kind of blend over one another. As I've said lots of times, if you want to develop your water control for when you do want to do, you know, when you want to paint a nice bird and stuff like that, then what you want to do is play around like this so that you sort of develop a kind of intuitive thing. I think they these days call it something like muscle memory or something, I don't know, but a kind of knowing, really, just a sort of knowing. If you do nice dark ones like that, then you can put gold on top. Just checking to make sure that my camera was recording. I'm not joking about that. I sort of go to bed at night worrying about whether or not my camera's turned on. When you're doing this kind of abstracty sort of thing, it's a good idea to take your circles off the side, but not too many, not too much. Just sometimes. That's probably enough. Well, so she says doing another one, because that one's already off, isn't it? When we're just building up a kind of pattern, this one calls itself grey. If you feel you've gone a little bit dark, you can pick up the colour with a tissue like I just did there. It's quite nice to have that sort of texture. I'm going to do a really big one down here. Oh, birds have all gone quiet. Must have put a cover over their cage. Oh, there they go. Red. And let's put another one here. You're going to be surprised when we start with the gold and everything on top of these, how much fun it is to put the colours in on top. I'm going to dab that because I want a bit of texture in that green. Green is a bit chunky, isn't it? Brown perhaps here. Okay, so we've got a fairly even coverage of absolutely horrendously ugly background colours, but that's okay. And I'm going to put the hairdryer on it and come back with some other things. Okay, so let me find a smaller brush as well. This one's a number 5. This one is a number 7. And I've got my MAB watercolors here, shiny ones. And we're going to see what we can see and see how these work. So what I want to do is lots of silver dots on top of the dark graphite-y sort of colour that we've just been putting on. So I'm just dabbing circles all the way around the big circle. I think they call this mark making. And then you could do some more in the middle, like here, same thing. If you do something in one place, it's always a good idea to do it somewhere else. And I was using this one, wasn't I? So we could do some spiral work. I might want to use a smaller brush for some of this. And it just lifts it amazingly and very quickly too. And you just let yourself go and do whatever comes into your head. And we'll do this silver in several places using this nice fine one. And then we'll move on to something a little bit else. These ones down here are a little bit different. We could go this way. I don't know if you can see that, how that's kind of almost moving as you put it on the paper. You can see the shiny bits kind of moving weird. Yeah. So there we are. And oops, wrong one. Could go around the outside edge. Like that. Could do that. We can paint in between two of the rings like that. And we could also go for a colour here. We could pick up some of this violet. And we could come in here and do that. And then maybe a bit more silver in the middle. And as you go into this, you'll kind of discover your own way of using these paints. I know I am. And we can pick up some silver and mix it with one of the colory ones as well, just to make it more interesting. And then we can fill in the gaps between our circles with little dots in places. We've done this before. I'm sure you remember. From place to place, sort of linking things up. This one's quite nice as it is, isn't it? Perhaps we'll just put a circle around that. It's a little bit planetary. You sort of think of other worlds, don't you? I'm going to just get a slightly smaller brush because I'm going to do some thin lines. I might use a silver pen or a gold pen, but mine have given up the ghost. So I'm going to have to do it all with brush today. Oh yes, I wanted to thank everybody who has purchased something, anything, by using one of our links. Just recently, we've been having a bit of a drive trying to help out Amazon and ourselves, because they had a competition, well, not competition, they were offering us a bonus if we reached a certain number. And so we were finding all these wonderful bargains on Amazon for people to get. So we thought, why not share them? So we've been having a bit of a drive, and we've made our target. We have, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for everyone who has supported us in that way. It's very much appreciated. And apologies for having somewhat dominated our Facebook just recently with all sorts of cool ideas. I was looking at all sorts of things, like somebody even bought a Fort George Foreman grill, which I use almost every day for our lunch. And I happened to mention it, and somebody else bought one. I think that's fantastic. Very useful, not very expensive either. Makes the most of your bread. And I was saying, oh, I need a new, not washing machine. No, I don't need a new one of those. Vacuum cleaner. But I haven't found one of those. No bargains here in France. Oh no, definitely not. Okay. And what next? Let's try one of these ones, shall we? These are very sparkly. Look at that. And we do a nice spiral in the middle. And then we could, what should we do next? Let's do another floral here. Let's go for this big chunky one. Some yellow in the middle, orange rather. And I suddenly feel the need for a few leaves. Let's look at green, shall we? Don't know whether green's going to work on this purple. I'm not sure about that. Now maybe we'll just keep our leaves in the same vein. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to think we'll need to put some actual black. Put some dots on these dark ones, perhaps. I think that's a bee. We went into town today and bought some plants. We're going to do some hanging baskets outside the studio. And so that's another project. Saturday, quite busy. I think we saw half a dozen people. No, there were more than that. There was actually a queue to pay. It's not the same as it was before COVID, though. Ooh, shouldn't say that. So we're filling in lots of spaces here. Maybe we need, I'm thinking we might need some real actual black. This is purple. Oh, maybe that would work. I think there might be some black in there too, actually. Yeah, blackish purple. Okay, and let's see. So I was just thinking that it needed some really intense darks to sort of contrast. And I think that's true. I think that's right. I think that's kind of working. Not sure about that idea. There. I'll put some silver on top of that because I'm not very happy with that particular little experiment. Let's put some lines here. And maybe we'll put some circles in the centers of some of these. There's another way of practicing your brush control. Practicing doing very fine lines like that, for example. Keeping them fairly straight and even. It's all good practice. This is nice, isn't it? All that silvery stuff there. It just goes to show that practicing techniques doesn't have to be tedious. You don't have to have kind of, rigorous, and now do this. You can just mess around. And you're learning all the time. And when you've done something like this, you stop and you look and you think, maybe that did work. Perhaps I like that, actually. And maybe that makes all the difference. these dark lines, yeah? Yeah, maybe these little subtle additions are the whole point. And you just keep going. And when something accidentally happens, like you get a wavy line like that just did, I didn't deliberately do that. You embrace that, and then you say, yes, that was a good plan, Stan. And you do a bit more of it. So what I'm using here is black mixed with quinacridone purple, I think. Now you don't want to put that black all over everything everywhere, but what you need to do is see where it needs it and then put it there. And the thing is, when you get to the end and you think I've finished, or I might have finished, I finished for now anyway, you think to yourself, then you have to say to yourself then, I remember when I started this and it was an ugly adolescent and I thought, oh, this is not going to work. But then I've worked with it. It's a bit like having children. You know, they all go through that stage, don't they? But you have to bear with it if you can and see them through it. And then they can abandon you when you're done. But anyway, that's your job. And it's a bit like that with a painting. You sort of, and then sometimes it all goes wrong and they end up in prison. No, I mean they end up in the bin. I'll give some more silver here. And I want to, not that one, this one, the finer one. I haven't really used those ones. I probably should. So the wonderful thing about doing the dark lines is then they're a wonderful foil for the silver. So you can come back in with the silver and correct your mistakes and turn them into deliberate creative acts. Okay, so let's have a few more little dots over here. And this one, I've been looking at that and thinking I'm not quite sure what to do with that one, but I think we'll do this. Now these need to be closed up. They don't look right as open circles. It's too much. But the good thing is you can always fill them in, can't you? That's better. Right, I think we're getting close. I think we are, so thank you very much if you are still here. Thank you for staying with me to the end. And don't forget to visit us at dianeantone.com if you want to download any of the sketches for any of the ones that need sketches. This one obviously won't have a sketch, needless to say. But there are lots that have, and As I said the other day, we are in the middle of revamping Patreon. But if you feel like supporting us and you want to join us on Patreon, we'd love to have you there. And it's going to get a lot better soon. We're working on that. Or else, also, of course, you can be a member of our channel here on YouTube as well, if you feel like it. So I think we probably need something in the middle of this one. This is a painting where, honestly, you can't go wrong. It's not like painting a bird or a plant or something like that. You're just painting for the sake of painting, isn't it? I'll turn it around that way and we can see what we've done. So there we are. One purple fantasy, you could say. So I'll let you go and I'll see you again soon. And yeah, don't forget, this was Meaden paper, nothing special, just the usual Meaden 100% cotton cold press paper, which you can get from Amazon or from Meaden themselves. MeadenArt.com, I think it is. Just looking at that one and thinking that actually made quite a nice sort of melange there. Didn't need anything, did it? And I didn't touch that one, but all the others we've embellished in various different ways. So exercise in mark making. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. So I'll say bye-bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.